Hi guys, and welcome to the Aging Games. If you're thinking about getting breast implants, or if you have breast implants already, then this is a video that you need to watch until the end because it could literally save your life. Now, my story is a very personal one, and it took a lot for me to come on here and to talk about it because a lot of people don't know my story. Even some of my closest friends don't know that I had breast implants and what I went through. But I know that there are so many women out there suffering and so many young girls that are thinking about getting breast implants, and hopefully this message will get out to them before they do something really crazy like I did when I was in my 20s. Now, just a little bit of a background. I'm not going to go too much into this, but I was about 20 when I started thinking about getting breast implants. I was very insecure about the size of my small boobs. It was just like overtaking my life. I was so obsessed, and I felt like I wasn't a whole woman because my boobs were small. It's really difficult to explain now, being 52, going back to how I felt when I was 20, but I'm sure you guys can relate to this. So basically at 21, I took all my money and I decided to get breast implants. Nobody knew that I was going to do this. I didn't tell anyone. My boyfriend said that he would leave me if I do it. So I didn't tell him I was going. I just went and did it behind his back, but I just had to have it. So first of all, the surgery was a nightmare. It was in the doctor's office. I was under local anesthetic. I was waking up constantly and trying to get off the table. It was just the doctor and his assistant, and they kept pushing me down. So basically I was awake through most of the surgery. They kept trying to give me more drugs to knock me out, but it wasn't working. And it was a freakish nightmare that I can't even describe to you. So yeah, I was so happy. I had big boobs. Finally, I got silicone implants, which is what they were doing in the beginning of the 90s. They were very popular. There was not even an alternative at that point. I think saline was just starting maybe, but not many people were getting saline because it didn't feel as natural. So the silicone implants, within a few weeks, they started getting hard. I mean, they would get rock hard and distorted because, you know, once they compress the implant, the whole shape of your breast changes. And the solution for this, the capsular contraction, which is really your body's way of protecting itself because there's this foreign invader. So the body forms a capsule, like a scar around the implant to protect its organs and to protect itself from this toxic substance, which I didn't realize at the time. You know, this is before internet, Google, all of that stuff. So I kept going back to my doctor with this capsular contraction, and the solution was that he would take it with his hands and he would literally pop it. So he would break the capsule around the implant so it would soften up for a few weeks, and then I had to go back and do it again. So this was like a monthly thing that I had to do. It was excruciatingly painful and stressful, and it wasn't a solution. The only other solution would be to have another surgery, open you up, take out the capsules, and hope for the best that it doesn't grow back, which it does. So anyway, being 21, 22, I started having all kinds of joint pain, arthritis, irregular bleeding, pain everywhere in my body. Just really strange things started happening, which should not be happening to a young girl like that. I didn't attribute this to my breast implants in any way at that point. You know, bad genes, bad lifestyle, whatever, anything could be happening. And I just kind of lived and suffered with all of these different symptoms and with the breast implant. Now at this point, there was a class action suit. They actually banned silicone implants in the 90s. I'm not sure in what year. And there was a huge class action suit, which I was also a part of. And they did win. It was like 25 million. I never got any money out of it, but I was part of the class action suit for people that were injured by silicone implants. And I had these implants in for quite a long time. I got pregnant with my son in 96, so that was like 5-6 years later. I had a healthy baby boy. Luckily, I was able to breastfeed him, and you know, I thank God that there were no ill effects from breastfeeding. I breastfed him for almost 2 years, and yeah, that was a big concern. And then after I finished breastfeeding, my breasts were destroyed from 2 years of breastfeeding. The skin was completely stretched. My nipples were huge, and it was time to get the silicone bags out. So at this point, the only alternative was saline implants, which is, you know, salt water. And I tried to find the best surgeon that I could. I was living in Florida at the time. So the best surgeon that I could find and afford was actually a dentist, practicing as a plastic surgeon, which is quite common in America. I don't know if it still is, but it was back then. He sent me for a mammogram before, which was, you can imagine, very, very uncomfortable. And then the day of my surgery, I went in. Again, it was done under local anesthetic. At least this time I didn't wake up. So or I don't remember waking up, because they also give you medication that steals your memory. So if you do wake up and everything, you don't remember. So this was 1999. And so yeah, about 8-9 years after I've had my breast implants in. So this surgery got very, very interesting. It was supposed to take about 2-3 hours. And 12 hours later, I'm still lying on the table. And my husband is going crazy. He can't even imagine what's happening to me. So what was happening to me is that the silicone bag has ruptured. And I pray and I hope that it happened during the mammogram and not during the time when I was breastfeeding my son. It ruptured and the silicone gel just migrated all over my body. And the reason I was on the table for 12 hours, because he was trying to remove as much of this silicone as he possibly could. Can you imagine that? Waking up to that and finding that out. So he replaced the implants with the saline implants, and he put them behind the muscle this time instead of being in front of the muscle, so it'll be more natural. They were distorted from day one. Like, one was much higher than the other. They had like a weird, strange look about them. Also very hard, very uncomfortable. Never looked or felt natural, not even for a second, my poor husband. But even for me, you know, even someone hugging me, my mom would say it's like hugging two baseballs, because they were just hard. Trying to sleep on them, very uncomfortable. And like I said, they did not look pretty or aesthetic or anything at all. But I just couldn't imagine my life without the implants, and that really scared me. And they told me that once they took out my silicone implants, I was like completely flat. I had like no breast tissue left. So I'm sure with the silicone, they also removed a lot of my breast tissue. So I only had skin, muscle, and then this new implant. And, you know, as the years went along, more and more info came out about breast implant illness. And the more and more I was getting concerned about what was going on with my health and my future. And I just felt horrible with these bags inside of me. And I wanted them out, but there was no alternative. There was nothing that you could do at that point. I was waiting for like a safer implant to come out. You know, the safer implant was the saline implant in a silicone bag, still in a silicone bag made by industrial companies. I mean, it's insane. You would never, if it was men, they would never put this in men's bodies. But for women, you know, the only important thing is that you have big boobs and you're very appealing to men. That's all that matters, right? Because everything in our society is designed, and even back in the 90s or 80s, before internet, it was designed to make you feel small and horrible about yourself if you don't fit this ideal of what a woman should look like. You know, think of Pamela Anderson and, you know, that kind of era. And they just get this stuff inside your head with the magazines, with TV, with everything, that you're inadequate, you're not enough. So this is how they get you, and they got me. And looking back, my God, I was so stupid both times. So anyway, no alternatives to removing my breast implants. There's nothing that I can do. And I keep waiting. At one point there was like soy oil or something, like jelly beans. I don't know. There were all kinds of crazy stuff, but they never really took off. So I was waiting for something. What can I do? Finally, in 2011, so 11 years ago, I decided, okay, I've had enough. And I started looking into having fat tissue and stem cells transferred in place of the breast implants. And at that point, this was completely new. Nobody was doing it. It was really, really difficult to find a doctor. I traveled to Italy. I was in Switzerland. I tried many different things. And all of the doctors, what they wanted to do is remove the implant, wait for about 6 months to a year, and then they would do the fat transfer. And that really concerned me because, and you needed a full lift. You needed a full lift because, of course, you have all this extra skin. So that was a lot of surgery, and I wasn't ready for that. Finally, I found a doctor in Switzerland who was willing to do it for me in one operation. So he was willing to remove the implant, see if I need a lift, and then do the fat transfer at the same time. So I was really excited about this, and I'm super excited about getting these toxic bags out of my body, which were just causing me so much anguish and pain and suffering, and they just looked and felt horrible. So I had my surgery, my first surgery, the breast implant removal. It all went well. Again, I had no breast tissue left, nothing. They took about 1,000 cc's of fat from various parts of my body, because I didn't have a lot of fat in one area. If you have like a big stomach, it's easier to remove it from one part, but they had to get it from kind of all over. And they filled up my breasts quite nicely. And the most amazing thing was that I didn't need a lift, which is quite amazing because the implants were quite big. They were like 400, I think 450 cc's. And then even though they're putting in 1,000 cc's of fat, it doesn't, most of it will not take. And most of it didn't take. So first of all, I was really happy to have the bags out, and the doctor gave them to me. So this had saline in it. The bags were black. So they were black inside, covered in mold. Now, can you imagine this mold growing inside your body? Can you imagine what it's doing to you? So no wonder I was having like asthma attacks and allergies and joint pain, and a lot of people develop fibromyalgia and they don't know what's happening to them. Imagine this toxic mold inside your body for years or decades. Because when you get breast implants, they don't tell you that, you need to keep changing them like every 5 to 10 years. It's not like a lifetime investment that you do it once and you're done. No, you have to keep changing them. Even if you don't have problems, they don't last a lifetime. So imagine the surgery, the anesthesia, the cost, the expenses of it all, the recovery, and then the risk to your health and to your life, to your future children. And a lot of women are not able to breastfeed. I was lucky that I was able to, but a lot of women are not. So it was really shocking to me to see these toxic bags black, completely black with mold. I do have them somewhere. We've moved a lot of times since then, so I don't know where. But yeah, my health definitely started improving. I felt so much better. My husband was so happy that they're soft. They feel like natural breasts. The only problem with the fat transfer is, like I said, most of it doesn't stick, doesn't last. And a year later, I had to do another surgery, add a little bit more fat, and finally I have what I have now, which I'm super thrilled with. They are small, they are natural, they are mine, and I don't care. I wish I would have never touched them. That's what I wish for the most. I wish there would have been other alternatives like the fat transfer that is available now. But honestly, guys, and this is just one story, and my story is not that bad. If you go on Facebook, there are groups about breast implant illnesses with like tens of thousands of women, and their stories are so heartbreaking. And oh, eczema, I didn't talk about eczema. I had horrible eczema, and this, interestingly enough, started after I took the breast implants out. So obviously my body was like detoxing big time, trying to get rid of the poisons that were in there for 2 decades. Can you imagine what your body has to go through? And then we don't know the long-term effects. We don't know what's happening, 30, 40, 50 years down the line, what it's doing to your brain, what it's doing to the rest of your organs, and what kinds of things can arise. And like I said, really check out those groups because the stories there are just unbelievable. And I don't know, I mean, I can talk about self-acceptance and self-love and all this stuff, but if you're a young girl, you're not going to listen to that. And even older women, because even women my age in their 50s are getting surgery and getting breast implants and feeling insecure about themselves. So it's really, really hard to get to that point. I guess you just really have to weigh the benefits to the drawbacks and all the things that can go wrong, because anytime you do surgery, it's a huge risk. And like I said, being awake during surgery and trying to get off the table and being pinned down and held down while they're shoving this implant into you is like your worst nightmare. I can't imagine anything more horrible. And if I had a daughter, I would do everything to talk her out of it. I mean, I can't even imagine anyone going through what I had. I have to tell you guys that I feel so much healthier, happier, more balanced. I'm a much better mother and wife without those toxic bags inside of me, destroying my health and my confidence and everything, because it was absolutely good for nothing. That's all I can tell you. I'd love to hear from you guys, whether you're on the fence and thinking about getting breast implants, or you've had them and maybe have similar stories to share. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out. I am so happy to help. I've tried personally to talk ladies out of doing this. Personally, it never worked. I'm hoping that this video will get to enough people so that it will and that it can make a difference, because that would make me really happy. So guys, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more from me. I have lots of videos about different health things, aging, anti-aging, exercise, diet, everything to get yourself healthy. So if you had your breast implants removed or you're thinking about it, a lot of my videos will help to get really in the best shape of your life and the healthiest. If you're suffering through menopause, I can definitely help you with that as well. So please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Wishing you health, love, and happiness.